Hi.
Hi, good evening.
I walked in tonight with a burning question, which you just answered.
I did.
Which was in relation to the answer was transparency. How to hold the vast lack of love in the world, violence, suffering, those things. It was triggered today when I heard that there was a bombing in a community in Bali where I was just a few weeks ago. And so suddenly, my heart opened here, but the other side didn't open.
Yeah.
And I was seeing the people who I'd been interacting with. And I see that as an issue in my work because I do something on a smaller scale that's similar to yours, so I need to work with that. But the other aspect of it that I'd be interested in you addressing is how this works in terms of activism. Because, how to be transparent and still be active.
Sure. If you're drawn to be so.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think it seems to me the most important thing that's often missing in a lot of activism, no matter where we're active, which point of view we're coming from, is first we've got to come to grips with our own inner division. Because we can do the best possible works, great works, wonderful works. Care for the sick, feed the needy, on and on and on and on. Save the environment, plant trees, stop burning so much fuel, all these things. And yet, if we are being involved in our concern, we'll call that an activism, in a deep concern for us. If we are, often we'll notice we're doing it from a divided state, which means this state where we actually see good and bad and right and wrong. And we're on the side of good. You always know we're on the side of good. Whatever side we're on, everybody in the world's on the side of good, right? Everybody in their own minds. And so when we're on the side of, we think we're on the side of good, and so we're doing our activism, but if we're divided in our human heart, what we're putting into the energy field, and I don't mean to be New Age, because to me it's not New Age at all. If people understood how things worked, they'd be amazed. Because everything is much more powerful on the unmanifest. The manifest is just like the top 2% of what's happening. It's the unmanifest of where everything is being fueled. Right? It's the fuel for everything we see in the world around us. So when we are in a state of inner division, even if we're doing something good, we're doing something good with this hand, and we're transmitting like a radio broadcast our division into the unmanifest. So we're feeding one's child with this hand, but our division is part of the cause of 10 children starving tomorrow. We are the cause. Your division and my division, we become our division, because the universe registers division. The universe does not register why we're divided. There's no hierarchy in division. There is no noble or holy division. Division is division is division. That's what's registered in the unmanifest. And so I think when it comes to our activism, the first thing we must become very sensitive to is, am I divided here? Do I see an enemy? Because if I do, I'm not seeing things in their true light. I'm not seeing the truth of things, and I myself am part of the problem that I'm trying to solve. It's very important. The other side of this becomes when we understand the power of a unified state of consciousness. Divided consciousness doesn't have much power. Obviously, it seems to be ruling our human existence, right? But it doesn't actually have a lot of inherent power in it. Divided consciousness. Divided consciousness needs a lot of people who are divided in their consciousness to get something to happen. Unified consciousness is amazingly powerful. I'll give you 2 examples I think we can all understand. A guy like Gandhi is a great example. Gandhi, his whole message, and he constantly said, I am not against the British. That's not what I'm doing. Don't be against the British. I am for Indian rule, Indian sovereignty. This is what I'm for. And he was always telling people, we are not against. And it showed his consciousness was not in a divided state. His consciousness was just in the state of what we're for, what I'm for. And he was expressing that. And so he acted and spoke, and more importantly, transmitted into the collective an undivided state of consciousness. This one little man with a lot of help, but basically his message got the biggest colonial empire kicked out of India.
He always said, be the change you want to see.
Right.
Yes.
But the key here is that his state of consciousness was not divided. That's what has all the power. And that's really significant, is am I divided?
And we always know. And we always know when we are.
We always know, right?
I know when I
It's
am.
like, I love the trees. Fine, it's good to love trees. To love trees. But do I hate the loggers? Do I hate the politicians do I hate, you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then we're just putting divisive energy into the whole. And so, as we can see, as our human species here is, not a whole lot's changing, is it? And there's a lot of people, more than ever before in our history, that are working for good causes, huge amounts of resources, maybe not as much as we think we should, but huge resources, huge amounts of money, finances, large numbers of people really working to stop destructiveness and violence. And yet, what does our world look like? Seemingly a little more destructive almost every day, a little more violent. I would suggest that one of the reasons is that when we're working, even doing good works with a divided heart, we are part of the war. We're giving birth to it in our hearts. And whatever's on the unmanifest must sooner or later manifest. That's how it works. That's how it works. It must manifest. And we also become much more powerful in an inspirational sense. The other example I'll share really quickly is the example like of a Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa used to make it very, very clear when people say, what are you doing? Are you curing the sick? Are you helping the poor? She'd say, to me, the person I'm helping is Christ. I'm serving Christ. I'm serving Christ. The sick, that's Christ. I'm serving Christ. Which is in her terminology and in her language, is serving the one. She sees a sick person on the street. Her consciousness is not simply seeing a sick person on the street and putting him into this little box. You are a sick person. I've come to help. She's serving Christ. She's serving the one. And so there's been people who've done the same thing she's done for hundreds of years, right? And even right now, in the time she was alive, there's lots of people, fortunately, who are doing the similar work. Why is she the one that has inspired so many people that even aren't Christian or Catholic? They might even have a problem with Christianity. And yet, something resonates within human consciousness for this person. Why her? Why not the other 5,000 or 20,000 people who are doing very similar things all over the world? Why her? I would suggest it's because of her vision, where her consciousness is. And something in us, in a deep intuitive way, connects to a unified state of consciousness. It resonates within us, right? It wakes something up. We inherently know there's something good going on here. There's something beautiful. There's something inspiring. And so this transcends just our doingness. Our doingness is very important, don't get me wrong. But when it's combined with a unified heart and a unified consciousness, our doingness is literally tens of thousands of times more potent. Because we're also putting an undivided state of consciousness. That's what we're contributing to the whole.